Hello and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Vanessa. I like to talk about books. Today I'm going to be doing part 3 of my Sapphic books coming out in 2021. When I made part 1 last autumn, all of these books seemed so far away, but now some of the books that I had in part 1 I now have in my hands and it's so exciting. I never expected to get to part 3, but I'm so happy that I am because I love that there's so many Sapphic books coming out. I hope any lesbians that are watching had a fantastic Lesbian Visibility Day. Let me know in the comments how you celebrated. But for this video, we're just going to jump right into it. There's a mix of young adult, contemporary, fantasy, sci-fi. There's a bit of everything in this video, so I hope that there's something for everyone in here. If you find any recommendations, please let me know in the comments. And if there's books that I haven't touched on yet but that you know of, please let me know. All of these books were found on Goodreads under the users tag, and that's where people will tag them as being queer or LGBT. So not all of them, but the most of them are where the main character is lesbian or bisexual, pansexual, queer. There is one or two, I think, where it is strictly to the side characters, and some of these books are also already out. I just didn't realise they were Sapphic. So starting off with the first book, we have Blackwater Sister by Zen Cho. This book is released very soon on the 11th of May, and it is an adult urban fantasy book. The majority of this book is set in Malaysia, and a closeted lesbian who lives in the UK returns to her homeland in Malaysia with her parents. But it is a country that she hasn't lived in since childhood. As a closeted lesbian, she's still trying to navigate life with her new girlfriend, although now this has to turn into a long-distance relationship. She is in fact a young medium, and when she gets to Malaysia, she starts to hear of her grandmother's spirit who has passed. And her gran really wants revenge on a gang leader for insulting this deity known as Blackwater Sister. Apparently it's a very complex storyline with a great paranormal system. The atmosphere is really immersive, and the reason I kind of want to read it is because I don't think I've read anything set in Malaysia yet, and it's a place that I'm dying to go to, and at the moment we can't go anywhere, so I'm living vicariously through books. A lot of people are commenting that it has great character development and a lot of it is about family, but it's also action-packed. This is absolutely on my radar. The cover pulled me in as soon as I saw it. I didn't expect it to be queer though, so very happy about that. Next is The Bone Way by Holly J. Underhill. This book comes out on the 26th of June, and there's not many ratings or reviews on this at the moment, so I'm guessing ARCs aren't out. This is a debut novel, and it's an adult fantasy Greek retelling of Orpheus and Eurydice. Oh, I'm not very familiar with this one, I'm very sorry. In this Greek retelling, Orpheus and Eurydice are Tegan and Cressida, and they are a lesbian married couple. Cressida goes missing. She has gone off on a journey to the Shadow Realm, which is like the kingdom of the dead, to try and bargain for Tegan's life because Tegan is slowly dying from poison. She doesn't come back, and that's not unusual because people that go to this land generally don't come back, although Tegan then sets off to try and find her to try and save her wife. I love Greek mythology retelling, so this one was definitely one that was high up on my radar, although when I have been looking into this, it does seem like on Amazon it's only listed for Kindle purchase at the moment. I can't see any like hardback or paperback to pre-order, which makes me a little bit worried. I'm hoping that it does get printed in the UK. Again, the cover for this one is absolutely stunning. I love the colours, I love the art, I think this looks amazing. This is definitely the year of me enjoying Greek retellings, and this is one that I have to get my hands on. Next up is A Master of Djinn by P. Jelly Clark. This is an adult fantasy book coming on the 11th of May. I believe this is the only book that I've done on all of these that has been written by a man, and it is also tagged as a steampunk mystery, which got me very interested. I don't read enough steampunk at all. This book is set in an alternative Cairo in 1912, and the main character, Fatima, is an agent of the Ministry of Alchemy, Enchantments and Supernatural Entities. Along with her girlfriend, she's investigating the murder of a brotherhood, and this brotherhood's purpose is to like worship this man. This man is very, very, very famous because 50 years prior he was able to open up a veil between the mundane world, which is their world, and a magical world. However, this man does go missing in the process, and the person who has murdered this brotherhood actually claims to be him. This book seems definitely a lot different to every other book I've had on this list, so I'll be trying it. The reviews of it are very, very good. I do believe that this isn't the first time this character has appeared in his novels. I believe the other books are treated as like prequels to this one, and this is book 1 in the series. But I've heard some good things about it, so I'll be looking to try it. Book number 4 is Indestructible Objects by Mary McCoy. This book has an absolutely stunning cover and drew me in straight away, and is published on the 15th of June. This is a young adult contemporary, and the users have tagged this as lesbian, queer and polyamory. The main character Lee works in a coffee shop and she has a podcast with her boyfriend called Artist in Love. However, unfortunately, her and her boyfriend break up and her life just starts to go on a downward spiral. She has lots of problems in her home life, and she starts a new podcast other friends called Objects of Destruction, where they discuss whether they think love is real or not, because quite frankly she doesn't think it exists at all. However, she does start to have feelings for her female friend, and it's sort of like a coming of age understanding sexuality and who you are. I kind of expect this one to be like a deep dive into what love can be and how societal boundaries have actually like enclosed what love is, when actually love can encompass so many more things than what the norm is. So I'm quite interested in this book. The next book is Some Girls Do by Jessica Duggan. She is also the author of Hot Dog Girl and Verona Comics. This is another young adult contemporary novel that comes out on the 18th of May. This story is about 2 girls at a Catholic school, and it does feature from both of their perspectives. An openly lesbian track star falls in love with a closeted bisexual teen beauty queen who also has a love of fixing up old cars. Their romance is sort of navigating what it's like to be in a relationship where one person wants to be open and proud and the other person doesn't feel comfortable coming out due to parents or other pressures. Seems like this book is going to be a great addition to YA as well, and I will be reading this when it comes out. Next is Girls at the End of the World, and this is by Laura Brooke Robson, and this is also a debut novel. This is a young adult fantasy sci-fi that comes out on the 8th of June, and this one has a very interesting premise. So this is a high fantasy world and there is a devastating flood, but only a few are going to be promised safe passage to another world where they can live. The main character is an aerial silks performer, and she's sort of like the lead performer in this group, and this group perform for the royal court, and obviously the royal court are going to get guaranteed passage to safety, but the main character and the rest of her performers, it's very uncertain about what's going to happen to them. The main character absolutely cannot accept that her and her other performing friends, who she sees as her family, are going to be left to this fate, so tries to come up with a plan to ensure that all of them are also guaranteed safe passage. To do this, she decides that she might try and romance the prince as her guaranteed ticket, although unfortunately for her, she does start to develop feelings for a new female performer called Ella. But unfortunately, Ella and the main character have 2 different plans for what they're going to do at this given time. Whereas the main character is trying to find a way off this world for her and the rest of her performers, Ella is just like, nope, I do not care, I just want to get revenge. I don't know if that means like revenge against the system of picking and choosing who can be saved against the royal court. I'm not sure. It has an interesting premise though. Number 7 is Briar Girls, and that is by Rebecca Kim Wells, and this is a young adult fantasy novel. Don't know if you can tell by the title, but it's no surprise that this is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty but make it queer. And this novel is released on the 2nd of November. The main character is called Lena, and she is cursed by a witch before she is born, so that if anyone touches her skin, they will die. We've seen this quite a few times in YA, but I'm not mad at it. For her own safety, her and her father flee to a village at the edge of this mysterious forest called the Silence. And one day she's going about her business and a girl stumbles out of the silence. She claims to be from a city far away which has magical abilities, and she's on a quest to go and wake up a sleeping princess in the hope that this breaks like a curse or some magic that will free her city from a magical tyrant who is like a ruler and oppressor of her city. For some reason, she teams up with the main character and they go off to try and wake up the sleeping princess. I mean, who doesn't love a good fairy tale retelling? Book number 8 is the Mythic Koda Rose by Jennifer Nisley. I'm very sorry, Jennifer, if you're watching this video and I've butchered your name. I do it all the time. many apologies, but this is a debut novel. This is a young adult contemporary coming out on the 13th of July, and it's about a lesbian who falls in love with her best friend who may not be a lesbian. That is the underlying romance plot. However, the main character is on a journey to find out more information about her father, who was a famous musician who has sadly passed away, and in doing so she forms a connection with her dad's ex-girlfriend. Because there's not many reviews at all for this book, I'm assuming because ARCs aren't out there, I'm not sure what that connection is going to be or where it's going to go. But again, it's the only one on this list that has a unique perspective about being sapphic, and that is falling in love with someone who might not be able to give those feelings back to you. So if that's something that you're interested in, 13th of July. The next book is a book that's actually already out, and this came out in February, but I didn't know that this had a sapphic element to it, and that is Of Silver and Shadows by Jennifer, I'm gonna butcher this, Grenke. Oh my god, I am so sorry. The sapphic element to this book is a romance between two side characters, but if you have a look at the reviews, a lot of people say this was a very enjoyable part of the book and in times better than the main character's romance, so that's nice. This is an older young adult fantasy which has the typical tropes of YA that I usually enjoy. A ruler king of this world kills everyone that has magical abilities apart from his own family, purely so that his family is the only one that has these magical abilities. However, the main character does have magical abilities and she's just evaded his notice. Therefore, she teams up with this group and they are going to try and overthrow the establishment. Like I've said, nothing groundbreaking in YA, but these are the types of books that I generally enjoy. I've had this recommended to me a few times as well, so I do have it on my Amazon wishlist, along with 100 other books. Next is also a book that is already out. This came out in January, and that is The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry. This is an adult fantasy novel which is like pseudo-Victorian. The reviews for this book are very interesting. People either really love it or can't get through it. And I think that's mainly down to the writing style and some crude humour. The main character is queer and she's hard drinking and she's a petty theft, and she stumbles across an ad for a high-paid job as a bodyguard. She thinks, I can do this. She talks her way into this job and she doesn't really take the concerns about the person that she's guarding very seriously. The person that she's guarding fears that she's going to be killed by assassins, and she's like, nah, can't see that happening. But much to her surprise, she is actually being hunted by magical assassins, so that's not good news for her. A lot of the comments for the people that couldn't get through this book say that they pretty much picked it up for a sapphic romance, but that's such a small part of the plot that you shouldn't really go into it for that. But if you're looking for something with like adult humour, I guess this is a recommendation for you. Next, we are back with YA with The Girl from the Sea by Molly Ostertag. This is a cute young adult fantasy comic that comes out on the 1st of June. The reviews for this one so far are really great, and a lot of people commend the art style and the colouring and the storyline and characterization. I do read a lot of comics, so I do have my eye on this one specifically. Morgan is 15 years old and she lives on an island and she's not very happy with her life. She has a lot of problems at home and she's looking forward to getting off this island. She knows in herself that she likes girls, but she carries this around as a secret. She doesn't tell anyone. One day she is saved from drowning by a girl in the sea, and they become friends and start to fall in love. This girl is called Kelty and she's described as being mysterious, and for some reason just thinking of her name makes me think like mermaids, sirens kind of storyline. But I could just be totally blowing that out the water, but it does say it's a fantasy, so who knows? But I am looking forward to getting this on the 1st of June. Now we are almost at the end. This is book number 12, and that is Not My Problem by Kira Smith. This book will be coming out on the 25th of May, and this is the second novel by this author who also penned the Falling in Love montage. Actually, Teresa from Sappho's Library actually interviewed this author, so if you're interested in knowing more about this book and getting to know the author a bit more, head on over to Sappho's Library so you can have a look at that interview there. This book is also a contemporary young adult novel. In this novel, our main character is a schoolgirl who is going through some problems at home and with herself, and instead of addressing those problems, she finds relief in trying to fix other people's problems or trying to resolve other people's problems. And God, if I don't know what that's like. It's surprisingly so easy to give advice, but also to ignore that advice for yourself. This is a coming of age story about overcoming expectations that are set by yourself and set by others for you. It's seemingly not romance-centric like the falling in love montage, but there is a relationship between two lesbians that is still really prevalent. Given the themes of this novel, I'm definitely going to read it because I think my inner 15-year-old is going to be like, okay. And I also do think it's a good recommendation for teenagers. And last but certainly not least is City of Shattered Light by Claire Wynne. This is another debut novel. When I saw the cover of this one, I was like, that has to be Sapphic. It has to be. This book comes out on October the 19th and it is a young adult fantasy sci-fi. It's not tagged as it, but it seems a little bit like cyberpunkish. I'm gonna have to read my notes for this one because this storyline, it's like the wackiest of all of them really. I don't mean that in a bad way, it's just one that I struggle to like process. An heiress to a powerful tech empire and a lowly gunsling smuggler must decide whether to team up or fend for themselves when a 154-hour night plunges their city into darkness. The heiress, who is called Asa, not sure, flees her manipulative dad when he uploads her sister's mind to a program in an experiment, and she steals her sister's mind to keep it safe and flees. Riven, who is the smuggler, is trying to work her way up through the underworld, and she knows that there is a bounty on Asa's head. However, in the wake of Asa's running away, there is a widespread computer virus causing chaos in the city. And in order to get the bounty for Asa, she must help her fix this problem. There seems to be a lot going on here, but it seems very unique. The world seems very unique. I'm not sure what the Sapphic element is. I don't know if it's going to be between them two characters or if it's going to be with one character and someone else or between two side characters. I'm not sure because this book hasn't had a lot of reviews either. But it seems very unique and imaginative. So there is another 13 Sapphic novels for you to add to your TBR. Let me know if any of them sound interesting to you. Let me know if you've read any of them that were mentioned in my previous videos. They're starting to come out now and I'm very excited. And like I said at the start, if I've missed any of that you know about, please let me know in the comments so I can get recommendations for myself as well. If you liked this video, please make sure you subscribe to my channel because I may do a part 4. You never know, there's still half a year left. But thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.